All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? Willie Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. The Minnesota Vikings just opened the vault for Pro Bowl wide receiver Justin Jefferson, and it was the perfect time for all parties involved to get this deal done. Jefferson and the Vikings just agreed on a 4-year deal for $140 million, dollars, with $110 million of that being guaranteed. This is the biggest deal for a non quarterback in National Football League history. And for Jefferson, he continues to be in that conversation in regards to being the best receiver currently in the NFL. This deal makes so much sense for the Vikings because now you've kept one of your best players happy at a time that you need to do so. And I say this because, OTAs are here in the NFL. It won't be long before training camps begin. And you don't want an unhappy camper on, your hands if you're the Minnesota Vikings, excuse me, especially you're bringing in a rookie quarterback in JJ McCarthy. And of course, this is supposed to be his era and you don't want to do that. So, first and foremost, we know that the Vikings took JJ McCarthy in round number 1 at this year's draft. They also brought in veteran quarterback Sam Darnold, and one would assume that Darnold will be the starting quarterback at first, or at least keeping the seat warm until the Vikings are ready to hand over the reins to McCarthy full time. Now, the Vikings will have McCarthy on his rookie deal for the next several years as they hope that he is their quarterback of the future. And either way, if you're the Vikings, you've got McCarthy right now on the cheap, and it makes so much sense to load up around him right now because that's what a lot of teams, have been doing when they have these quarterbacks on the rookie deals. Make no mistake about it. Jefferson is one of the best playmakers in the National Football League, and his ability as a receiver, okay, should definitely help the maturation process from JJ McCarthy. So you look at it. You had Henry Ruggs, Jerry Judy, CD Lamb, and Jalen Rager. These are all wide receivers that were taken ahead of Justin Jefferson in the first round in 2020. And of those four receivers that I just mentioned, only Lamb is still with the team that drafted him, the Dallas Cowboys. And I guarantee you this, CD just sat back yesterday and saw when this deal got done with the Minnesota Vikings and Justin Jefferson. CD wants his money, and it's going to be very interesting to see how the Dallas Cowboys approach that. That's a topic for another day. But nonetheless, getting back to the Minnesota Vikings, this has been a very strong offseason for them, in my opinion. You look at it, they just got stronger. They signed linebacker Andrew Van Ginkel, the former Miami Dolphin in free agency. They also brought in the former Green Bay Packers running back and Aaron Jones. Making that trade with the Houston Texans prior to the NFL draft to get that additional first round pick was huge for the Vikings. We know that they had their sights set on a quarterback once, didn't get worked out as far as a deal with Kirk Cousins, and they wanted to start over. They took JJ McCarthy. That was a quarterback they wanted. And now they just got Justin Jefferson, his extension. So credit to Kwesi Adafu-Mensah, the Vikings GM. This has been a strong offseason for him as he has given head coach Kevin O'Connell the pieces that he needs to look to keep the Vikings relevant. Like I said, this NFC North has gotten real good real quick. We saw the Detroit Lions get to the NFC Championship game this past January. We saw the Green Bay Packers win a playoff game and very easily could have made it 2 playoff games. And they have a young team led by quarterback Jordan Love. We just saw the Chicago Bears draft Caleb Williams at quarterback first overall, and we see the players that they're putting around him. So, nonetheless, if you are the Minnesota Vikings, you definitely want to keep up with the Joneses in this division. And how do you keep up with the Joneses? You take care of your playmakers, a la Justin Jefferson. You think about him and you think about what he's done. And I'm not even going to call it 4 seasons because he only played half of last season and he still had more than 1,000 yards receiving. But, you think about 2022 where he had 128 receptions, more than 1,800 receiving yards, and very quickly he's moving up the ranks as he's already eighth all time in receiving yardage in Vikings history. And that's an accomplishment. I know that the rules have changed for passing in the National Football League, extended seasons now, you name it. But nonetheless, the Vikings organization has a long and storied history at the wide receiver position. I mean, naturally, people are going to gravitate to Chris Carter and Randy Moss, but you think about the other Carter in the 1980s for the Minnesota Vikings, and I'm talking about AC, Anthony Carter. And if anybody didn't get to see Anthony Carter. That dude was the real deal. Of course, started at Michigan, had the years in the USFL, came over to the Vikings, and then the rest is history. You think about Adam Thielen, a solid pass catcher. You think about Sammy White in the 70s and 80s for the Vikings. Ahmad Rashad being a part of that team for so many years. Stephon Diggs before he was traded to the Buffalo Bills to make room for Justin Jefferson, taking it back to the 70s as well with John Gilliam. So, nonetheless, Justin Jefferson is adding to the lineage that this organization has at the position. And I think he has the ability to put up some big numbers for the Vikings. And I think he and JJ McCarthy are going to get on the same page very quick. But nonetheless, smart move by the Vikings. Keep one of your best players happy. And now you can look to go forward. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank all of you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you haven't already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out, drop a line, and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I am signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.